Hey guys, JVonD here with the new BEATOMATIC IV. Yeah, very excited about it. Now, the thing that made me go from the BEATOMATIC 3 Turbo GT was now I told myself I wasn't gonna use a computer to produce music, but the routing I just couldn't do the routing that I could do when I started doing advanced Reason techniques. So today I'm going to kind of show you guys some really advanced live performance Reason setups that make the BEATOMATIC 4 quite a bit more advanced than the BEATOMATIC 3. Now I haven't really redesigned the box for it, but it's basically going to be like half the size. The setup's going to be a lot quicker. Now I have my laptop here with a Steinberg UR44 down here, and that right there kind of gets rid of a lot of the other module synthesizers and also all my guitar stuff, vocoder, so it's all kind of packed into this one thing. Now, this unit is mainly used for the LSD band and a lot of my performances coming up, so I'm going to kind of show you how we kind of have our stuff set up here. And mainly, how we like to have our stuff set up is to have a couple of drum beat tracks and a sub bass channel and a couple of lightsaber synthesizers to really go crazy on. Lightsaber synthesizers, I just mean like really crazy synths that you can kind of tweak in real time and make them go nuts. So if you notice on my Reason here, I have one channel listed as lightsabers. Now the lightsabers are, there's more than one lightsaber synthesizer on that one channel, so it's lightsabers, and there's actually more than just a couple. There's like 4 altogether. So I'm going to show you how I kind of compacted 4 or more lightsaber synthesizers pardon me, on one channel. So if you look here, we got the mini mixer that kind of is going to be routing a lot of the audio here, but down below is a combinator. So it's really important that you use combinators. So up top is the main programmer. In the effects for the programming area, or the effect inserts, is just that mixer. And then down below we have the combinator. So if you notice on combinators, you'll notice that there's 4 rotary knobs and 4 buttons. Those are going to be very important in routing. And then down below that, within the inserts on the combinator, is the instrument. So I just got a maximizer up there just to control some of the levels. But down below that, I have a pulverizer that I can kind of tweak, get it a little grungier sound if I want. But then we start to get into the meat and potatoes, which is the vocoder up top here, which routes into a Thor. So if you're new to Reason and you don't really know how to use the vocoder, well, you can't just load up the vocoder and have it play sound. You have to actually route it through a synthesizer. Maybe I can get into that a little later, but I want to get into some of this other stuff. So then I have below that setup, I have the sampler, the NNXT sampler, which also is used as a I use it as an ambient sound, to play some ambient sounds. But then to get into the lightsabers down below, I have 2 Thors set up. One is kind of like a lead and one is kind of like a bass. And then down below, very important, is not only the arpeggiator to do live stuff with, but also a matrix, and then a couple of CV splitters, which is really cool. Now, I don't do much with the programmer on this vocal track. I know I labeled it as vocal, but it's actually kind of like an all-around live keying unit. So what I have going here is just with a NanoKontrol, just a small controller. I'm going to be controlling everything now instead of having a bunch of different boxes, a bunch of different synthesizers and stuff. There's just a NanoKontrol reason, and that what do you call it, interface. So pardon me, I got the sniffles here. I'm just going to give you an example of okay, so I'm going to load up this first channel here, and this is where we start getting into some crazy meat and potato stuff here. So my channel 1 on my NanoKontrol is actually routed to change from different ambient and vocoder sounds. Also, number 1, the rotary knob will also go from it'll go from the ambient synth or sampler to the vocoder synth. So I'll give you kind of a little example here. Let's see if I can. So here's the ambient sound. So this is set up to have just a keyboard up top here. So you got I got 1 octave of keys. It sounds like this thing's crackling a little bit, but whatever, we'll deal with it for now. But then down below, I split the keyboard up. So on this ambient synthesizer, I actually have samples down below.
But this tool should feel very nice against your skin.
So I got 4 sample pads, and then not like a full octave up top, but close, starting with the C. So that's just to trigger ambient sound. So if I wanted to, I could switch this over using rotary knob 1. Now this is where it gets really cool. So if you notice up here in the programmer for the lightsabers, click on the line mixer. Okay, and what's really cool is this is where the MIDI control routing gets really crazy. So if you notice on channel 1, this is going to control rotary 1. Rotary 1 is actually assigned over on the side here to control volumes on both 1 and 2. So when it's turned the one way, it's got the volume of number 2 up and volume 1 down, and when you turn it, it does the opposite. So I go from 1 sampler ambient to a vocoder. So now the vocoder's on. If I play something in here, hold down the button, and there it is. There's my vocoder, which has the full octave of keys to play on. Okay, so that's just from 1 knob switch. You totally conform everything over. Also, this goes from the vocoder channel 1. If I move this up, this channel volume goes to a clean sound. So during live performance, it's actually just overlapping what I'm talking about right now, so you can't really hear the difference. But if I muted the clean mic, you'd be able to hear me as a clean vocal coming over. Now we're going to get into some other stuff, but just for example, yes, there are effects. So I can just turn up channel 8 knob, and we start getting into effects routing and stuff. So all that's going to be coming up. I'm just going to go over these quick few meat and potato things here. Also, this knob, not only does it control the change from the vocoder to the synth, which I believe, let me see if I can see it. Okay, so this 1 channel knob controls rotary 4 on the combinator down below that mixer. You can see it there. So there, it's moving there. So if we go down to the programmer here, okay, there we go. Yeah, so you set it so you can see down below now too on the vocoder. So not only is it controlling that rotary, but then you program the rotary in the programmer to control that dry wet mix on the vocoder. You can see the red knob on the lower right moving as I do that one channel. So right there you're already getting a light bulb in your head saying, oh my god, this is gonna be really cool for your own music, I bet. But not only does it control that, but I'm going to go into the other number 2 channel here on my NanoKontrol, which is where my 2 other lightsaber synthesizer Thors are located, and I'm going to bring that up. This number 2 channel volume controls all the volumes of this whole entire lightsaber channel. So anything that's routed through there, okay, will be on that one channel volume knob. And this is a mute for it. So I have a mute here on 2 for all the lightsaber synths, and then I unmute it, and I can play that whole octave worth of notes, which is really nice. So not only does this channel 1 knob control all that stuff, but even when I'm not using that stuff, I can turn it up, and it controls the amp envelope while I'm doing other lightsaber synthesizer stuff. So that's really cool. So there's so much on one little channel volume controller, rotary, whatever you want to call it, does so much stuff. Now, I want to show you some crazier stuff here too. Okay, I also have, you've probably been looking at that pulverizer, but I even have that set up on this number 7 rotary knob, which we can get into the effects later. But down below, we're going to go back to how this arpeggiator vocal channel with the matrix is set up. So now, if I bring up this one fader, this channel 3, you'll notice that that arpeggiator just turned on. You'll notice that the on button came on and the run button came on. When I push it down, it turns them both off. So now I just have a normal old keyboard. I bring it up, and it starts playing the arpeggiator. So that's really cool. I love that effect, because the way you have to route this to work, and before I explain it, I want to just show you one more thing. I'm going to unmute the number 3. The number 3 controls that matrix. It controls the pattern run button, or the pattern on button. So when I'm not using just the keys or the arpeggiated keys, okay, I can turn on that matrix, and there you go. Now also on that matrix, I have knob 3. This is my whole arpeggiator channel is on this channel number 3. I change the number 3 knob, and it changes the matrix patterns. So there's just a bunch of my favorite ones all set up there. So we'll mute that for a second and turn it off. So the way you have to have this set up, and it's very important, is we'll hit tab here and go to the back side of the panel. And I want you to focus on this RPG 8. So I take the CV notes and gate and route those up into the combinator. Okay, so those get routed to the combinator. The combinator, any notes that are played through the combinator get played through all the synthesizers by default. Okay, that's why the combinator is so powerful. Now down below, I have the matrix going into those CV splitters. The CV splitters, the one for the note, the one for the gate, and then those split off into the Thors. So you have individual Thor inputs. So when you're not controlling it with the combinator through the arpeggiator, then you can turn on the matrix and it'll control all those Thors by themselves too. So it's very, very cool. I love, 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 love that. Now, obviously, this is why I can't, you can't do this in my old BEATOMATIC setups. This is super huge stuff. So just with a simple knob press here, I can get this whole thing just kicking butt. Another cool thing is when you bring in the matrix sequencer, it actually comes in on the downbeat, which is really cool. So you never like miss a beat or anything. It's just like cranking. I love that. So if we get this thing cranking, and now if we go up a little bit, now I'm going to show you how I have my my cutoff resonant knobs here on 5 and 6. So if you notice, this one knob is controlling that rotary 1 on the combinator. Knob 6 is controlling rotary 2 on the combinator. Okay. So if we scroll down a little bit, now up here in the programmers where you program those rotaries, so you go down to like where the Thors are, and you'll see all the stuff I have programmed in there to control. And usually, by default, you're going to want to have those combinator rotary knobs controlling the big knobs on the Thors. You see the big knobs on the Thors moving, the cutoff on the left and the resonance on the right. Also on that NNXT, and I got to restart this thing, I apologize, this thing, usually when I'm just jamming, this thing will never stop. But, so the NNXT is the same thing. And I can show you really quick how I have the NNXT set up with that. Okay, so the 4 samples are listed there, and then the top is that ambient sound. So if I go to that, I can... There it is. And the same thing set up there. I can have the arpeggiator controlling that too, if I want. Now the matrix doesn't go to the NNXT, but I don't really need it because it's just an ambient synth. But it might go to the vocoder. If I switch over to the vocoder, I think it might be going. Maybe not. Yeah, probably isn't. So it's mainly I use them for the Thors. So my lightsabers will have some cool patterns to go in the background there. Okay. So another thing that's cool about, loading those, I'm just going to minimize that thing now that we're done with the NNXT. So another cool thing about the Thors is, they have their own programmers down below. Not only do they have their own programmers, but they have their own step sequencer too, which I disable. Because I was thinking about, I could load up the step sequencers, have them turn on and off to a button. But instead I found out that you could do the matrix and have them kind of all running the same patterns off of the one thing. You don't have to really... because if you focus, you try and simplify everything. You want to make it super easy. So if you have patterns you like, instead of trying to load them into each individual step sequencer in a Thor, you just can have the matrix do it, and then you're all good to go. You don't have to do a bunch of extra steps and stuff. It's perfect. But down here, the Thors have their own programmers. So you can have any knob or any button or any fader within the meat and potatoes of the Thor. You can have those control other parameters. So it's just really amazing. So on this one, I think I have an oscillator pitch adjust as I scroll one button. So not only does it adjust the cutoff and resonance, it actually adjusts the pitch of the oscillator, which gives it that grungy sound. And I don't know if I mentioned, but the rotary knob number 2, will change from one lightsaber to another instantly with that volume mix. Here's my other one. Change the pattern on number 3. Go to the arpeggiator. Add some delay if I want. Okay, I got hey, JVonD here in the studio. If you want to watch the full video here, you go to JVonD.com. I'm going to show you how. And you just open up your browser there, and then you go up to the search bar, put in BEATOMATIC IV, and there it is. Yeah, there's your Reason tutorial, or you can just type in Reason up in the search bar, and there you go. It pops right up. Or you can just go to the blog. I think the blog will even have it listed there. There's BEATOMATIC IV. You can go to category and select BEATOMATIC. And there you go. Hey, hope you'll learn a lot from that, and see you around. Come by the site sometime. Say in the chat room. Take it easy.